Mike Owens with Inside Fighting, joined today by El Kakui, Tony Ferguson, who returns to action facing Salt Papi at the Misfits Ring of Thrones event later this month. Tony, great to sit down and chat for the first time. How are your emotions ahead
Oof.
of your return?
Yeah, I'm excited, man. I just right here in the middle of practice, probably within the second hour, got about another 1 hour to go. I'm gonna go post some football and get back after it too. How's everything going over there, guys?
Everything's excellent with me. Thank you for asking. Tony, how does it feel to be training for a boxing match after fighting in MMA for so long?
Well, it's amazing. I always find myself in a fucking boxing ring more
Mm.
than I do in an octagon. Here's a fun fact. The only time I ever found myself in an octagon when I'm training is actually when I'm fighting. So I've spent actually more time in a fucking boxing ring with boxing shoes on than I have without shoes in an octagon. How about that? Kind of interesting how that works.
Where would you at this moment in time rate your boxing skills on a scale of 1 to 10?
I'm probably a two. I'm still learning this shit. I'm so sloppy and everything else. Everybody fucking discounts on me and stuff. And still learning the game. And I'm like a blue ribbon here. I mean, I can't bullshit. I can't lie. Boxing's always been in my blood. It's always something I always wanted to do. Um, Between MMA and boxing, I can't say one is better, but I do know how to train for different sports. I've been fortunate enough to be a badass athlete because I've had good fucking coaches. And this is another way for me to go out there and show me what I got.
Has this been a more enjoyable or a more fun camp in terms of the differences that you've had to make in preparation for this one?
In preparations for it, I have to say that my time has been a lot better because usually I would have to find, time to go to jujitsu class or go to Muay Thai or go boxing and all these different things in the separation of all the different types of sports. Boxing is interesting because I don't have to worry about taking away too much time from my family, which was always a big thing. When pandemic hit, when we were all coming together, when everybody split, it was hard to fucking go to like everywhere. And so boxing has allowed me to be able to make my phone calls and honestly, I've been traveling just as much as I've been staying home, so I can't bullshit it. I'm doing a lot more now than I probably was in the last 4 or 5 years.
Can I ask before we talk about this fight, if I asked you who your favorite boxer of all time was, or an inspiration of yours, who would come to mind?
When I first started MMA, when I was going into the Ultimate Fighter, or when I would watch people, obviously like people like Mike Tyson. You
Mm.
have Mike Tyson, you have Julio Cesar Chavez, Pernell Whitaker with Sweet Pea. I've always liked head movement, and I always liked how like Prince Azim Ahmed, like a lot of these guys, they just had a certain swagger to them. And my dad was old school. He always liked the guys that didn't have too much cockiness and everything. And I always thought it was cool because I wasn't allowed to do that. So there's a certain kind of confidence you have to carry in the ring. And anytime that I would, like you had like, I mean, shit, Riddick Bowe versus Andrew Golota, like you had like these fights where they would fight more than one time or like shit would happen. I was fortunate enough to see like Hearns and Hagler on HBO and a lot of these old school boxers where you had man, I'm going like Tommy Hitman Hearns, like a lot of these guys.
Mm.
It's just like now I'm able to reach out to these fighters and they talk to me back like Teddy Atlas and a lot of these guys. And I find myself, on Instagram there, if you're looking at boxing, you have that, that logarithm where all you're going to see is the rest of boxing. And I've been fortunate enough to just fucking every time I scroll, I'm watching something boxing. So it's pretty fucking cool.
Have you enjoyed your first fight or your first lead up to your first fight under the Misfit banner? I mean, Darren Till, the guy who'll be fighting on this card as well, referred to Misfits as the circus and said if you're at the circus to enjoy the clown show. Have you enjoyed your first fight or your first lead up to a Misfits fight so far?
So when I was with the UFC, over time, I've become like not just a fan favorite, but behind the scenes, I was always really cool with everybody. You get to know everybody the more the times that you show up. I mean, you only get to see them around fight time, and it becomes like family. They're still family. I love it. It's always been like more than a handshake. It's always been like hugs and like two times kind of thing. And with Misfits Boxing, I mean, regardless of the brand, it's the same kind of entity where it's like you're gonna have to go through the media week, you're gonna have to go through the face offs, you're gonna have to go through stuff. But I find myself not being as friendly, like knowing anybody. I find that it's a whole new atmosphere, and I take it a little bit more, not just seriously, but a little bit more business ethic wise when it goes into, yeah, I'm a new guy. Yes, I'm over here with a new banner. I'm over here, but I'm not taking it easy. It doesn't matter about YouTube or influencer or UFC. No, I'm another athlete that's coming into somebody else's house, and I gotta make sure I show up with my manners and everything. But when it comes down to fight night, I'm still the same fucking animal that shows up all bloody wearing everybody else's blood.
How would you describe your next opponent, Salt Papi? What have you seen both from his training and his previous fights and also maybe some of his other endeavors outside the fighting?
Well, I don't call him Salt Papi for one. I don't even want to call him Nathaniel Bustamante. I like to call him Veruca. Now, if you guys are familiar with Willy Wonka, right, in the very old school, the very first one, I'm gonna call him Veruca or Veruca Salt, because it's just a little bit, like when you have people that are on camera, they act completely different than when they do one in person. This guy was smart enough to be able to bring his dad and his brother, got to meet them. They seem pretty humble and everything. But then what I see is when he's around family, around normal people, he likes to act normal. But when he's around the camera, you see his real fucking personality come out, which is don't be fake. Go in there. If you're gonna say you're gonna knock me out, you better have the fucking balls when you're in front of me to say you're gonna knock me the fuck out. It doesn't matter if you're watching my film slow motion or whatever the fuck you're gonna do. You're gonna piss me the fuck off, and I'm gonna get my ass in the gym because the last 4 to 5 years, nobody's talked shit. They've been wise about that. Even Khabib or McNuggets, they really don't like to talk too much shit because when they talk shit, it gives me fuel for my fucking fire, and that's the kind of animal that I am. I grew up with a lot of people talking shit. I grew up in an area where a lot of people were nice, but it wasn't the nicest, kind of in the same kind of essence, and that's why I'm a fighter. So, you know what I mean? Without the name calling everything else, yeah, he has the balls to be able to sign up on a dotted line, but I'm not calling him fucking Salt Poppy. I'm gonna call him Baruka, or Nathan or Nathaniel or whatever the fuck it is. It doesn't matter who you step in front of me. You're gonna give me this guy. You put a belt in front of me. You're gonna dangle some hardware. I'm gonna go in. I'm gonna add it to my collection.
As somebody,
Humbly speaking, with that one.
humbly speaking, of course, as somebody who's trained as a professional fighter for the best part of, well, most of their life, is fighting a quote unquote non-professional any extra motivation in terms of
Oh, you're
showing
gonna
what you
call
can?
him a non-professional? The dude's got 6-2 in
Hmm.
professional boxing. That's what I'm saying. Like you guys that are on the other side with the fucking headphones and everything else are so quick to click and everything else, and then fucking boost about it. Like kind of like you're disregarding somebody that's got the balls to be able to go in there in
Yeah,
front of
100%.
millions of fucking people. They're a professional. What you think just because he fucking does a YouTube because he lost some weight and he still fucking acts a certain way that he's not taking it professionally? What the fuck? The guy's got 8 fucking fights in professional boxing. I have zero. I'm making my pro fucking debut. I'm the newbie here. This dude's fucking got more experience in the boxing ring than I do. I might have more in the octagon as far as like what you call it, like professionalism in this sport, as far as pugilistics and stuff. But damn, you guys are disregarding this dude and fucking acting like he's a fucking nobody, man. You guys are fucking discrediting him. Fuck you guys when you guys are thinking that. Be like, oh, Tony's gonna get in there with this fucking guy. You guys are fucking wild, man. You guys are just fucking just about as much chump change as everybody else fucking thinking that he's not a professional. I want you guys to go in there and fucking get your professional license, cut the weight, show up, go to practice 2 to 3 times, a day or some shit like that, and then fucking be able to handle this lifestyle, which I guarantee you none of you guys could.
I guess the point that I was making is in terms of the time you spent as a professional fighter and the time, the space of time that your proponent has spent as a professional fighter.
Perfect. Yeah, it's wording is everything. Wording goes into everything. When we talk about experience, now
Mm,
when it goes into experience and wearing other people's blood, yeah, dude, I wear like it's fucking mascara all over my face, and my
yeah.
coach is telling me to smile, Tony. Those, I have more experience in athletics and sports than almost every single UFC fighter, and then almost every single boxer. I've been playing sports since I was 3 to 4 years old, and I haven't stopped. I'm 41. That's over 35 years that I have in athletics. So you're talking about experience? Oh hell yeah, I got experience for days. But you can't discredit a motherfucker that wants to get outside and put some fucking gloves on and sit across the ring from me.
No,
Never
no,
fucking disregard that.
no, no. I completely agree. But I think it's a valid question in terms of the time that you've spent training to be a professional fighter and the time that your opponent has spent. And I guess the question is the question I want to ask is, do you feel any extra motivation given this, I suppose, change of opponent, let's say, in terms of a new avenue?
Yeah, for sure. I get to put on shoes, which most of my life I wore cleats and I wore wrestling shoes or dress shoes.
Mm,
The next thing is I don't have to, it's fucking crazy. Like you're gonna put me inside a fucking ring, which the most of the time I spent most of my life practicing inside a ring. I've always found myself wanting to box, but I wasn't allowed to. I've said this before. My dad wanted me to play sports so that way he knew that that was going to look after my future. If it's like if you didn't want to do this kind of sport or anything like that, find something else to keep you busy. One, it's going to keep you out of trouble, and two, you're going to stay sharp, and three, it's going to bring you somewhere regardless because I'm not paying for that shit. And it did. It brought me to college. It got me an education. It got me to where I'm going, and it's getting me to where I'm going to be going too.
What are your biggest motivations at this stage of your career? Are there specific goals that you set yourself that you still want to accomplish, or are you fighting at this stage for the love of the game?
I'm starting a new profession right here that I've always wanted to start. When the UFC had me on lockdown for the UFC, just doing that with brand alignment, I had to, enjoy it, which I loved it because the UFC brand is not a sport, it's a brand. And they allowed me to take my brand and to grow my brand to where it was to be able to give me another future, to be able to take care of my family. My biggest motivation is my family, my wife and my two kids. We're trying for a third and, we're doing all this stuff. And I'm practicing more wrestling takedown defense right now with my wife more than anything, which is cool because she's trying to attack me all the damn time. So it's more wrestling I'm getting now that I'm in boxing than I am when I was in fucking in MMA. With MMA, I'm not saying I got bored, but when I have done I've always played three different sports. And when I played three different sports, it was like they changed the seasons. You guys are over there. You guys have summer, fall, winter, spring, and it just keeps going. This has just always been MMA. And I'm not saying it got boring for a long fucking time, but damn, dude, it's like, okay, give me a fucking new change. You give me a new change. I get to put on a new hat, get to put on some new different types of equipment, still get to wrap my hands the same fucking way and throw. But this is a different avenue and it's a new thing. It's fresh for me. And when it goes into being fresh, it's like, okay, in a grocery aisle, which way are you going to go? You're going to go left towards the bread or you're going to go right towards all the fresh fruit and vegetables? I find myself going towards the freshness and I feel good.
I love it. Well, excited to see this next endeavor in your career, Tony. Last question before I let you go. Thank you so much for your time. I want to ask you about the UFC lightweight champion, Ilia Topuria, given that you're making your first foray into boxing and how everybody talks about Topuria's boxing skills. I guess I would like you to maybe reminisce on your career and maybe give me a prediction for how a fight between yourself in your prime and Ilia Topuria would have gone.
I When it goes into anybody in my prime, I beat anybody. There's no bullshit about it. I've chased some of the world's worst fucking criminals out of this motherfucker where they never wanted to face me. I've got dossiers on both of those bastards, and you know who I'm talking about. I don't even have to pronounce the names. I mean, shit. These guys never wanted to be a part of me. Their family was like, no, 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 no. You don't want to fight this guy. This guy's fucking dangerous. Like almost like Mr. T when Rocky, you know what I mean? It's kind of like, no, 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 no. You don't want to fight this guy. This guy's fucking hungry. He wants exactly everything that you got, and he's gonna come after you. This is the fucking animal. In the right mindset, even Chester, these guys were fucking piss poor scared of me. They had to wait until like I was fucking bored out of my fucking mind to be able to go and take these opportunities because they're like, maybe now we'll take this fight. Because you know what, maybe we're a little scared of this guy. Me and my prime, I'd be fucking anybody in the lightweight division. That goes anybody. That's why I'm a legend. That's why they call me the myth, and that's why I'm the fucking man.
I love it. Tony, thank you so much for your time. It's been an honor to catch up with you today. Have a great and safe rest of camp and best of luck for this next
Oof.
fight.
Cheers, boys.